You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Aline, the co-author of the books Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the leading digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. As always, let's hit that follow button, like, share, subscribe, all of those fun things wherever you're listening. Leave us a review. That'd be nice too. And if you want to take the conversation beyond just what you're listening to here, go to Facebook, type in Roofing Success, and join the Roofing Success Facebook group. Today, I think we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today with our friend Dan Rankin from Kirkin Exteriors. How you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good, man. Not too bad. Monday morning, had a great weekend, feeling fresh and ready to get it started.
Awesome. So let's tell people about, kind of a little bit about Kirkin, how you got started in the industry and where, where you guys are today.
Yep. We operate out of Newcastle, Delaware. The area of Delaware we are located in borders us to Maryland, Jersey, and Pennsylvania. So we got a license in all those states. A couple of those states are a little bit more restricted from contractors just setting up shops. So we like that we're licensed in all those, taking all the tests, all the different counties and all that, which covers a pretty good range of products for us to choose from for installation, from windows, siding, roofing, gutters, all kinds of different demographics up and down throughout the tri-state area that we're in here. So it's helped our business grow, having the different areas of operation into cover about an hour to an hour and a half radius. There's some vacation homes in our area, some pretty high end, than just your average customers. So it helped us grow out a lot. We've been in business now for a solid 10 years and just seen tremendous growth every year after year. So it's been awesome to see it and be a part of it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. How did you get into roofing?
So it's funny. I've always been I can remember thinking back when I was younger, just always into fixing things, always looking to see how things were put together, how to take them apart, try to put them back together, that kind of stuff. But more on the building end, from tree forts, just trying to, that's that kind of thing. Not too much in electronics then. But as I kind of got older into that, I went to a trade school and took into the trades that way, and always worked for different construction companies on the weekends. From being a hustler, just always lining up some side jobs here and there throughout the years. As the jobs got bigger and my skills got better, the jobs kind of had to start on Friday, so I'd miss a day at work, and the bigger jobs rolled into Monday, so I missed another day at work. And before you know it, I had to come to a fork in the road where it was like, hey, I'm either going to do this full time or I'm going to keep on working for other companies and helping them grow, which was fine. It was a time that I needed them and a time they needed me. I reached that fork in the road, and luckily from the support of my wife and family, we decided to indulge on it together. And I say together because it is the entire family that's involved on this. It's a big gamble. We had a house, we had a mortgage, we had a lot of responsibilities in life. But looking back 10 years ago, it was the best decision I ever made. It was cool. I had a lot of opportunities, come and go, and we were able to land a lot of those and help us grow to where we are now. It's been cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, what have you found have been kind of the key components in what, in getting your, growing your company?
So it's been different levels. We started off, our first year, I think we did, 300,000. We thought we were, we're thousandaires, it was like the greatest thing ever. We achieved the goals, and all that. And they had their own levels, their own obstacles at that level, and then as you get to that million, a lot of guys have a hard time getting past that 1.5 million. You got to bring a staff on, you're bringing some strangers into the business and that kind of stuff. And they had their own obstacles there. So just kind of pointing out obstacles where we are now, I would say, we thought it was harder back in the day when we were at that 1.5 range, but seeing where we are now, last year we closed out almost 10 million. So we had a great year last year. We were doing, awesome numbers and consistently month after month and watching the growth and all that. But nowadays we have different types of obstacles. Of course, marketing is one. in this industry with roofing, we've widened our range of products from, like I said, roofing to siding. But typically with roofing, you have a one-time customer, with the roof product itself. So you got to find ways to offer your other services to those repeat customers, whether it's on their second home or, it's on a family member's type of house or their investment properties, what they're doing. So you got to take your customers and you got to make them you got to be a part of their life, in their business, their decisions they're making, referrals that they're giving, that kind of stuff. So I would say, repeat customers is very valuable, and we're always trying to find ways to make sure we find that avenue to grow into.
Yeah. Let's talk about one thing that you mentioned first. And you said like when you get into that like million and a half range, that's where you have to bring strangers into your business. Right? Like that's a good way
Yeah,
to put it, right? Like and that's a challenge for a lot of not just contractors, but business owners
true.
in general. There's a point in your business where you start to be in the people business a little bit more than along with being, a roofing contractor, you're also in the people business. What were some of the lessons you learned in hiring and bringing in those strangers, um, that has helped you, break through that level?
I think I'll speak for myself, I was kind of my worst enemy. What I mean that is at that level of a million, everything was running smooth because it was running through my head. The CRM system, if we had one at the time, I can't remember exactly. We were definitely just getting in. Was very small. Everything was operating through Dan's head. It's like Dan knows this, Dan knows that, so everything had to come back to me. So even though I had people doing the job, they spend 10 minutes talking to me about it just to save me 5 minutes, if it was possible. So I was learning a lot that I was a problem of why we weren't growing. It wasn't that I didn't have enough people. It wasn't that I have enough the right people. It was that I didn't have the right processes in place. So bringing on those guys, and the guys were working out. Once we started putting processes in place, we started realizing that, this is a lot harder or a lot easier once the processes are in place. But we had the guys who were used to just operating without the processes. That's where those guys had to, they weren't able to make the change that the company growth had to. With the team we had and the processes we had in place, we would have, it was very hard for us to get out of our own way. So as processes started going, a couple of guys adapted and continued to grow with us. And we had some guys who just operated best with that. I want to work for the owner, directly with the owner on site type of crew. And it's cool now that when you do get to a new point and you're bringing on new people and you have process in place, that's all they know. So you're not training that old dog to do new tricks type of thing, and you bring them on, and it's exciting to see them picking up right where you put down, and it just flows without you being there. So
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting one, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Um, and it's the right person at the right level. Sometimes at that, when you hit that million level, you just need someone that has enough of a skill set to take things off of your plate,
yeah,
so that so that you don't have to build those processes and train people in those manners. But then when you get to the next level, maybe that 5-8 million level, you're like, man, now this person's kind of rogue, right? Like they're not following the processes that we've went back and put into place. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel that not everyone is the right employee for forever? Is Do you think that there are some times where, hey, this is the right employee to get us from here to here, but it may not be the right employee to get us from point C to D, and that type of thing?
yeah. I never really blamed any of the growth directly on. I didn't think anybody was stopping us from getting to a certain
Yeah,
growth standpoint, that kind. But more of they excelled better in production than sales, that kind of stuff. People, how they're just naturally wired, what direction they're interested in. They got to be most
yeah,
interested in. Can some people handle the commission base? Some people handle the incentives type of thing. So kind of making sure as management team you are getting the most out of your people is very challenging. Yeah, at different points. Then at the same time, you have some people who just want more and more workload. They can handle it. They love the pressure. That type of personality on people. And you have other people who at 3:30 they just want to wrap it up. They're just done for the day.
Yeah.
And you don't want to burn them people out because them 40 hours a week they give you are solid. They're really good people. So you just want to make sure that you're not burning them out. And as the company grows, you went from having 3 personalities to worry about to 10 to 15. That's a part where a good management company comes into play to help you manage all those personalities and make sure you're getting the most out of your team.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you talked about building out your processes, right? And now when you bring someone on, they become used to this process versus having to adapt to the new process. I have a feeling like I think a lot of times business owners will get caught up in either overbuilding the process up front, and then they essentially take so much time trying to perfect the process that they don't move forward. And then when they do move forward, they learn that they break the process anyway, and they have to redo it. Have you run into that at all?
Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on exactly, but when you look back over 10 years, you can go, yeah, we had some really good ideas. We spent a lot of time, and man, they just didn't take off like we hoped they would have, but we got a little
Yeah.
bit out of it. But the more and more we grow, we've talked to some very smart people in the industry. We are GAF Master Elite, so we tend to we attend all of the GAF seminars that they have, all the training programs. We've been to their headquarters several times right up in New Jersey, which is cool. They have some really special guests there. And just been introduced to a lot of people through GAF. Kyle Hoffman is one of our most recent ones. Phenomenal guy. He has a lot to offer to the industry and puts his stuff out there publicly, and we met him at a GAF event, and he's helped us out with processes in general a lot. And he was one, I'd say, it was a couple years ago we met him, and he really broke it down to us to explain to us how hard it is to actually make a change in a company of our size. Just tweaking one little thing can take months, before everybody accepts it. Try not to tweak too much at one time, can really disturb a lot of people and make it feel like their position's being, either jeopardized or switched up. And really, you're just trying to redefine, like you said, but
Yeah,
it is
that's a
hard.
big one. That's a great insight right there. Like, especially as you get to a certain size, it's like you can't just decide, oh, we're going to do things this way now,
No.
right?
Yeah.
You have to put a lot of different thought into it. What is something that you guys did that way? You're like, oh, we're just going to do this. And the ripple effect didn't work well.
Yeah, I would say my position with the company, I really focus on the sales end of things.
Yeah.
We have the office manager that runs the office and handles it really well and that HR stuff. But from the sales end, that's still where my heart lies, is in sales and all that. But we've tried a couple of different things with sales, whether it's different proposal setups, different delivery, one call close versus and the customer has changed a lot. As we're trying to put processes in place, we had COVID hit 2 years ago, and that kind of changed our whole customer base and marketing. And so I feel like the past 2 years we've been trying to adapt to the way of the customer instead of trying to stay ahead. We've been so unpredictable on what's coming in sales. We've tried to put different things in place. Like I said, whether it's a new presentation where we were going to sit down in the house longer and try to show more. And then 2 years ago, we couldn't even get people to come to their door, let alone, sit down. So those kind of things have been hard. We've always had a good presentation and a good rapport with the homeowner. We spent some time there, but didn't really end up putting too much time into, new PowerPoints, new slides, that kind of stuff, ways to educate the homeowner. So it forced us to do more stuff through email, more links for the homeowners to attend to and all. So things that we didn't see coming our way were delivered, but we had to just adapt to it and kind of put the other ideas on the back burner.
Cool. So you've also, in your growth, you guys have put together a lot of fun marketing ideas. I think that's one of the things that when we were chatting the other day, I was like, oh, you guys are having fun over there, right? Like, and so you do a lot of fun stuff. What is your kind of philosophy in marketing your company, like from a macro perspective? And then we could talk about some of the fun things that you guys have done along the way.
That's cool. Now, I would say we have a advertising meeting, a marketing meeting once a month, just trying to get some new ideas, and we have some meetings where we're like, don't bring up any of the old stuff. Just bring craziest ideas you got. And who has the craziest one, you almost get rewarded for it. But just all of our marketing, our big thing, and my big thing with all the ideas I bring is I want people to feel invited to call. There's so many things where people put this big company up so large that you feel like you can't get a hold of any certain individual. And I always want to make people know the term family owned, it's not anything like we're trying to stay small or anything. It's really the truth as far as, you call up here, you ask for someone, and they'll connect you to their line. Anybody's not unreachable. All of the folders that we supply have all of our email, cell phone numbers in there for the project managers, operations managers. So we do reach out, and from our folders that get delivered to the job, to the customers, up to the billboards, we just say, hey, feel free to give us a call. Whether it's for repairs, we offer a great service for repairs. We have new installation to commercial leads. We just try to put ourselves out there, and it goes back to being fun, being inviting. Like, oh, these guys, you can relate. You get a smile out of it, and it feels like you take that smile through the phone call.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are some of the craziest things that you guys have come up with at these marketing meetings, and which ones have you implemented?
Yeah, we've had some pretty good ones. We've taken some of the pets around the office and put those on the billboards. Some of the cute pet pictures have been pretty cool on the billboards. I personally have spent some ridiculous money on vehicles that look pretty cool that we can spend additional money on wrapping. And we take those to the trade shows. We take them to like opening day at the ball fields and the parades around town, and loudspeaker systems and the giveaways, and all that, and everybody's dressed up and all. So it just gets everybody in the spirit, and really puts a brand name out there and all that. It's positive. So we've been to we had the big trucks. We had I think it was called Touch a Truck, where they teach kids how to walk around vehicles, safety stuff around there. So they've invited us out to come out, like around the fire trucks and the buses in the cities and stuff and all that. So the children's museums. So all that kind of stuff's just been really, really cool. We do a lot of billboards. Billboards are really big for us around here. We've always had great success, whether it's the locations, the quantity. I'm not quite sure we're going to put our finger right on it. But billboards have always been continuous referrals for us. Really helped brand us a lot. I think we're on a lot of the roads people travel up and down the state for like vacation spots. So I don't know, maybe location has something to do with it. I say about a year and a half ago, we had a really good popular billboard, and it was up for several months and just got a wide range of attention. In our sales meeting, or in our advertising meeting, we were talking, and one of the things about billboards, we were trying to think what they all have in common and trying to be different of it. The idea was that they're all right side up, and we're like, trying to think more about it. Well, we turned ours upside down. So it was pretty cool. We turned the billboard upside down, kept the writing very easy to read upside down, identified words with our logo. And when I say that thing got action, you would not believe how many calls we got. It was just from, hey, did you guys know, to I want to work with you guys, to when I have something coming up, you're the one I'm going to call. What other service do you guys do? It was just phenomenal feedback. And I think we did like 4 or 5 of them. And the billboard company was like, we've never heard of this before. So it was really special. That summer was phenomenal. It was a lot of growth that year. So we credited it to the billboard that year. And it was just cool. We still get it talked about today. So we thought about rerunning it again just because it was so good, and it's been some time now. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. Like, and it's those crazy things. So people were just calling in, like, just to talk to you guys, just because they saw the billboard. Like, they might not have even wanted a new roof or wanted any of the services that you, but they were calling in. Is that true?
That's the truth. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So in order to get the number out there and get them calling, it worked on that one.
That's awesome, man. Like that's so it's thinking outside of the box, but it's true, because we get marketing messages. Like, we get so many marketing messages every day, right? Driving down the road with the billboards, on in your Facebook feed, in your Google, in your email, in your just everywhere. You're just being bombarded with marketing. Yeah. And then that quick, like, wait, what is that? Like, why is that? Like, just, like in social media, like, we call that stop the scroll, right? You do something kind of cool, like, something that that will stop people from scrolling, right? The
Yeah.
image that you have in your ad makes people stop and go, whoa, what's that, right? That's probably that's what I can think of. Like, it's a good analogy there. Like, they're just driving down the road and they're like, wait, what is that thing upside down? What's going on? Like, how, you know,
Yeah.
and then you left it there for months and they drove by it all the time and they're like, this thing hasn't gotten fixed yet. And they just
That's it.
keep thinking about it and keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
Billboards are one of those things that and I've mentioned this on the show a couple of times, but there's a real estate agent here in the Minneapolis Twin Cities area that just absolutely dominated this market with billboards. His name is Chris Lindahl,
Okay.
and he posted, it was like him on a billboard with his arms spread out, like it, and everyone that's listening from the Minneapolis area knows, right?
Hell no.
Like, there are hate groups on Facebook about him because he has so many billboards, and like there's all kind, like, it's crazy, but it's attention. And a lot of people don't understand that, there's some of these things like, I mean, I own a digital marketing company and we're always we know the power of SEO and Google ads and things like that. But some of those traditional methods, the billboards, and different things, man, that has a huge impact. How do you measure it, though? How do you just feel? Is it something that you feel, wow, our call volume is up? Or is it something that, I mean, I'm sure maybe you're just asking people where you heard of them, or how are you measuring it?
Yeah, we with the billboards. So billboards are more branding. We label those as versus call to action. So they do say they see a billboard. We don't get the exact location all the time, so we got to see how many calls are coming in, what the close ratio is like on that. So we're measuring the matrix as much as possible. We don't do a call. We don't do a call tracking number on the billboards. Call tracking number usually they're a little bit longer, odd numbers. They're a little harder to just remember. The number that we brand as our area code 302, it's 832 roof. So we
Yeah.
were fortunate enough to get that lined up, 832 roof. That way we brand that number, which does affect us using call tracking numbers and all that. But our call takers are on point with our CRM system that we use as Job Progress, and we've really pushed that thing to the max with as much organization as we can get. And call tracking is extremely important to us on that. So they do a good job as well as they can from mailers with zip codes, which one they're in and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then, so really, like, I like to separate this to people. There is branding and marketing, and there
Yeah.
is a crossover, right? And it's similar to, it's branding is a component of your marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you said other things like you've wrapped a bunch of trucks, but then you have some more outrageous looking trucks that you've wrapped too, right? Like some big, like super, yeah, like what? Explain the stuff that you've done on your wraps.
You said explain it.
Yeah, like what kind of
Yeah.
trucks have you wrapped and things like that? Because you had a couple that were like almost monster trucks and things like that, right?
Yeah, we searched the internet nationally and seeing what we can find, and one we had was an Excursion, which are highly desired vehicles. They don't make those anymore, discontinued. But this guy that did this was a piece of artwork. It was 40-inch tires, 10-inch lift on it. Everybody around town loved it, but the cops they didn't like it. So that one, after so many tickets and threats from the police, even though they liked us personally, they did not like it on the road. So we had to eventually get rid of that one after about a year and a half of endless fights there with the cops. So we didn't want to be on that side of anything. So since then, we've got a modified F350. It has a 6-door with an 8-foot bed on it, and it's a huge truck, almost like a limousine, seats 9. So we take it to the events. It's all wrapped, has the company logo on it, 832 roof everywhere, GF Roofs for Troops logos all on there. Again, just very positive. We get so many thumbs up. It's got the air horn on it. Kids love it. Men love it, of course, and the women see what we see in it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so it drives it's one of those things to me, like, I think, and it's so I know some companies that do it now, like right out of the gate they're wrapping trucks, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the most important things. Has that been a very effective, like one of your very effective marketing things that you're doing in your company?
Yes, it has. We are not a second generation company. We are first generation. So, taking the name to the market and the industry and putting it out there, we looked at it as we want a nice clean wrap. We want a nice clean vehicle. We want our guys to change the image of, and this was 10 years ago was our thought process, but and it still is today. It still rolls pretty strong. But 10 years ago, we got into this because, the roofing guy had a bad name, and throughout the years, we've been able to clean that name up a lot, especially in our area with different companies going out of business, short term. And it was 2011, 12 when we got into it. So we were still in the recession and, people were still, not spending like they were like crazy. So, they were really, going through and vetting the contractors. So we wanted to kind of pull up and give them that warm feeling or see the car in the neighborhood
Yeah.
and they can know what company is there, we know what was good or bad. And we knew we had a good image to portray and we knew what we were trying to brand out of it. And with that being said, with putting our name out there and people, even though we were smaller, people knew we weren't trying to hide from anybody. We weren't trying to just come and go, as we please. And it was kind of a bold move of ours, but that's what we wanted. That was the impression that we wanted to come back towards us, and it did. People see our
And
brand, and still today they call us a lot of referrals. I see your truck in my neighborhood, which is cool. We
it,
got about maybe 15 trucks on the road now.
yeah, that's awesome. And it is so impactful. But it's one of those things that's hard to measure, right?
Yeah,
Like just like your billboards, it's hard to measure, but it's super impactful to have that branding out there in the community all the time, driving billboards and your billboard. Like it's awesome. You also told me that you guys do some cool stuff like um that you like use trending topics and things like that in your social media. I thought that was real interesting, like, kind of latching onto what's going on in the community and inserting yourself in the conversation. What are you guys doing there?
yeah, that's pretty cool. It's so monthly, there's all kind of different things in the media. We try to stay out of the political and religious stuff, try to stay very neutral with it. But I think one of the things we had with just a few months ago was Bitcoin, hit the all time high. And a lot of people ever was the topic of all the water cooler talk was Bitcoin. So we put a post out there that we accepted our first payment for a project by Bitcoin, and it was a beautiful house, and everybody was just talking like, "What are you guys crazy?" Blah 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 to teach us about Bitcoin, and obviously we just use Bitcoin's brand logo to help generate our stop scroll was what you called it, I believe, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so we try to take different sports events as they're coming up, and people getting back into sports more than ever right now, and playoff time stuff like that. So we try to incorporate into that. And use that kind of stuff. Also, there's been a couple of local events in the news just from I don't know if we talked about this last time, but it was there was a local landmark in our area that was actually hit by a drunk driver. So the drunk driver was okay. Nobody was injured, but the structure that it hit was a national landmark since like the early '80s. It was like a shark in the tank, and the shark was damaged. It was a taxidermist type of shark. It was set up, and they rebuilt the structure. And we volunteered to put the roof on for them and everything. We played our part in that, and got the newspaper out there taking pictures, and did a big social media push on it and everything. And it got a lot of positive feedback. So just things like that, trying to take the negative from a community and turn it into a positive, as well as participating, with different things in the media, and just trying to be all parts of relevance.
Yeah, and that's thinking outside the box. Like you are part of your community, right?
Yeah,
So be part of your community, right? That's where your perfect customer is. They are those people that are also watching those news stories or being involved in taking their kids down to you'd said like the where the fire trucks and having the
yeah,
fire trucks and things like that out. Being a part of all of these things, it doesn't equate to that. Hey, we need to go to this fire truck event so that we get a lead, or we get to put a roof on this landmark to get a lead. Like how many leads can we get from it, or how many jobs can we get from it? It leads to jobs, right?
yeah,
Like, but it's not it. But doing those things has a much higher impact on your community and the way that people look at your company,
yeah,
right? So that's awesome. So now, kind of going back, you said something earlier as, some of the changes that you've made through your sales process. So in your marketing, doing some fun stuff, being involved in the community. You had mentioned that, through your growth, you've changed the sales process, your presentations, and some was forced because of COVID, and some was probably, like, hey, let's try this way. Let's try a one call close versus, and doing that type of stuff. What are some of the things you've learned along that path? And you guys in your market, what has worked, and in within your culture too, because I think sometimes your sales team, sometimes they fit a certain type of sales culture, and sometimes they fit a like presentation style, and sometimes they don't. What are your thoughts on that?
We have been very fortunate with sales guys. We haven't had much turnover. So we currently have 4 sales guys. I think we've had 2 additional ones over the years that fit very well. Reason why they left was just for other opportunities outside of our area, so relocating. So never had a bad situation with sales guys at the end. They've always adapted pretty well to our specific style of training, which was always able to do a one call close. We set up in the house to represent the company very well. We do the presentation with job progress. We can upload all of our contracts digitally. But we want to get to know the homeowners there with the first meeting. When we get done, we want them to know, us as a company, our salesman as an individual, as well as we expect that back in return. We want to know who we're working for. So that's always worked out pretty good. And our guys have always portrayed that pretty well. Since COVID hit, it has turned a lot more into you get to know them a lot less, but with callbacks, you show that you're eager, you show that you have the attention there, and really sticking with that. Like I said, we've tried to make a couple of changes to our process here more recently with the new customer, but we haven't had much success with the change. And I would say we were going maybe from just delivering our best system to maybe a good, better, best type of thing. We shot some ideas around with that, and still working on some kinks in that.
For sure. In how many sales reps are you guys running right now?
4.
4. So
Yeah.
4 sales reps for $10 million a year, right? Like,
yeah.
You're
good averages. We've been really successful with it. Really, really good team around.
That's that's very good. And without having a lot of turnover in there, what do you think has helped you do that?
I think the culture that we lay out with those guys. I mean, with sales guys, you can get different personalities. You know what drives a salesman. We've always been pretty good at letting them know how important they are to the company. They are the fuel for the company, but at the same time, part of the team. We all play our part, and those guys have an unusual schedule. They're got to be available at the whenever we need them. They, maybe a day they don't work at all. 5 leads the next day. But again, just with the training and bringing the guys on and letting them know what we expect from them and what their job entails, we try to make sure that they get rewarded equally for their appreciation to the company.
Nice. What would you say, like, if you were to hire a new sales rep and bring them on, what's the top let's first start. What are you shooting for? Like, I expect with our system, the way we run things, that this rep will do about this much per year. If they are producing this, they're probably not a right fit. And then how high of a ceiling, or, do you think that there is, for production out of a sales rep?
Yeah, they are commission based, 100%. So not everybody can handle that from the start, a commission based salary. Yeah. So those guys, if they're just getting started with us, switching over from a salary, that is very tough. That's an obstacle that I know it's going to be a huge obstacle. It's not just going to be, oh, I'm fine here, we'll adjust. If they're coming from a commission based before, primarily commission based, that would help us out tremendously. I need the guys to realize that the value in these jobs determines what their pay is going to be. We're going to provide them with an average of 2 to 3 leads a day, 5 days a week, sometimes Saturdays. They have flexibility in their schedule. After they need to take off, they can. We'll bounce the leads around. But yeah, like you said, the guys can make as much as they possibly can with a high closing ratio. We have individual sales meetings, so we'll sit down, we'll go over their leads. But yeah, they should be closing. Average, our guys are around 40 to 50% closing, and we're a pretty aggressive number in our area. We're worth what we cost is.
Yeah, for sure. What would you, so because there's not many companies, I would say, that everyone thinks that to get to 10 million, you probably need a lot more sales reps than that. What do you think has been the key to getting to hitting those numbers, to have 4 high performing sales reps?
It's a tough answer. I don't have the secret.
Yeah.
I always say, luck has something to do with it, but I always feel like the harder you work, the luckier you are.
Okay.
Our guys have been very successful. They're very driven. Maybe that might be a question for them too, individually, to ask them, what makes them get their most out of them. But yeah, just the guys have all worked together as a team, in our team meetings. I don't see any direct competition. I see, maybe just, who has the highest sales for the month or for the year, that kind of stuff. But no direct animosity towards other guys for, doing good. And I think the guys bounce off the ideas with one another a lot.
Yeah, so having a good culture internally, that makes a lot of sense. And how about from an employee retention, from all of your employees? I know you talked about it, like you want a place, have been trying to create a place that employees can stay long term. So
Yeah.
not thinking about the short term.
Yeah. So that was something we were saying too with, how we wanted to change the image of a roofing contractor to our community as well as an employee. We have women that work in our office that have never worked for a roofing contractor before, didn't know anything about roofing, and may have came from medical or a whole different field, but just very impressed with our company overall. From the health benefits to the vacation to the pay packages to the flexibility we have with scheduling, the office that we've laid out here with it, the amenities, that kind of stuff. So it feels like potentially like a medical building that they're working in, or a medical field. It feels like a corporate setting without the negativities of it. And our guys in the field are just phenomenal guys. They work in the hot, they work in the cold, and they don't complain. They come back and they're just tough guys. And they've been able to stick it out and really help our company grow. Um, we have individual meetings for each department, making sure that they get their voice out there, making sure that each individual is heard and each department is heard, negative or positive. We want to make sure everybody feels like they're appreciated, they're growing, as a team, as an individuals as well.
Nice. And
Yeah.
then and then in that, you had also told me that you guys do really focus on customer communication as part of the process, right? Because you're trying to build that long-term customer. What are you guys doing from a customer communication standpoint?
So from the initial standpoint of getting the job, say if it's a repeat customer, we do probably lack a little bit on the jobs we don't land. There's a lot of value in a previous customer that you did not get. Most of the time, I would say, I like to think all the time, we didn't get the job necessarily because something bad with our company, a reason why they never use us again. It was just either timing, contractor, whatever the reason was. I think we still have an opportunity, another job with them. That is something we have been talking about improving on, is customers that we actually did not get. But the customers that we have been successful to work for, there is, the monthly email blast goes out. If it is a referral of some sort directly contacted, we do contact that referral. We used to mail out the referrals. We give out gift cards for several hundred, depending on the value of the jobs. But we used to mail them out, and then they would just say thanks. But now we have them come into the office. We have to take a picture, post on Instagram that hey, they got the referral fee, and we encourage other people to give referrals and all that. And most of those referrals go to previous customers, which is also feels good, and knowing they're referring us and upcoming jobs are coming up. But yeah, we all of our previous customers, we invite them to the Facebook stuff like that, where we try to stay relevant on there for them as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea. Have them come to the office to pick up
Yeah,
instead of mailing that. Just those slight tweaks, right? Like
yeah,
it's so many times it's just a very slight tweak in the process makes a huge impact, because now they're in your office and you have a very professional office, like you
yes,
said. It's a very nice environment. They come down, you give them some coffee, or like they can wow, this is, yeah, they can feel proud that they referred someone to you, and they know, you know, that they're going to be taken care of. When we started this off, you talked about additional services in creating that lifetime value. When most contractors are like, okay, we do roofs, and then that person's not going to do a roof forever, right? So you're really relying on referrals for roofing, but you're also trying to build that value through additional services. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, we got into doing siding first. I'd say probably about year three, we started doing siding projects. We did a couple test jobs here and there, trying to figure out our products, trying to figure out our crews, trying to figure out our numbers, that kind of stuff. We spent a couple months doing that. Once we figured it out, we got it going. We pushed that for about 18 months to 2 years, and then we've got into windows. So over the years now, we've obviously offered gutters and different types of specialty products with siding, with Hardy, and growing into that industry. But Windows has been a really good source for us. We've had a really great window install team. We handle all of that stuff through our office here. Our window team, we put in a Provia window. We come out, we do the tech measure. We have a great display of the product that we do, a great service crew if needed. And windows have been really good for us. Our service crew overall taking care of multiple different types of siding and stuff like that. So putting those specials that we have out monthly in our on our mailers or on our email blasts from previous customers, stuff like that, has putting those logos also on our wraps of different products that we offer has really opened our previous customers' eyes up, because when we ran them several years ago, we may have not been doing it at the time. So we got to really get a hold of them over these past couple of years, letting them know what's new for our company, and keep them interested in it.
Yeah. And this email blast that you're doing, or email thing that you're doing on an ongoing basis, you mentioned offers, right? That's something that I think people can really pay attention to. It's encouraging someone to pick up the phone, right? Like, and having some kind of offer that you're putting out to those people. Now, oh wow, we didn't even know you did siding or windows, and now it's time for us to do new windows. This is perfect. Well, you guys did our roof, and now you have an offer for windows. Now you have an additional revenue opportunity, and increasing that long-term value of a customer. What I mean, not to get too specific, but what kind of offers have you found perform well? And it doesn't have to be specific to windows or siding, but is it like everyone responds to money off, or more people respond to money off, or more people respond to some kind of warranty offer? What have you found in that regard?
Yeah, I would say value. People, if you can control the value and see the value in it before they even make the phone call, we've been able to work some pretty good deals with our manufacturers where we've been an upgrade for a certain amount of time to an upgraded product for a base price product. So we've been able to offer that for a limited time. But yeah, I would say it's definitely being able to see the value in it, whether it's an upgrade, whether it's a financial compensation. We've been able to kind of talk to our marketing team and seeing if we can we do a Roofs for Truth program, like we mentioned that before. So trying to target certain industries. We did a lot of things for nursing and medical field employees, during 2020. So I think we got a lot of good feedback from that kind of stuff. So being able to kind of touch an individual personally, where they work at, with from teachers, that kind of stuff, but touching them personally on just an ad gets a really good response.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that you mentioned there is working with your manufacturers, that your preferred manufacturers, right? And saying, hey, we want to run this, run some kind of promo, to get some people in the door. Can we offer this free upgrade, work on pricing? That's a great idea. The manufacturers are there to sell more product too.
Yeah, they got some numbers to hit themselves, right?
They have numbers to hit. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. They have their numbers to hit too. So your territory manager, what I mean? Like, get them on the phone, have some conversations. What can we do? How have you managed those relationships? Are you bringing the ideas to the manufacturer's reps, or are you going to the manufacturer's reps for ideas?
I would say most commonly we go to them. When we go to them, they're open. They mix it up with us a little bit. They give us their opinion at that point. But I would say probably give most advice to the contractor. Don't be too mad at your sales rep if he hasn't brought you any good ideas. Typically, they try to keep a neutral territory there, no favoritism. But once you bring it to them, they're pretty open to it. we put them in contact with our office at any time. Our sales reps can reach out to them at any time. So that way, when we do have these ideas, or we do need them for their help and support on, promotion that we're running, it just makes it flow a little bit easier, a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's awesome. So come up with ideas, bring them to your reps and say, hey, we're thinking of this. Let's try, we're thinking of trying this. We're thinking about trying that. See what the response is. See if you could get something put into place. As you've built and grown your company now, you would talk to me about really about how employees are proud in your company, are proud of working for your company because of the customer feedback that they hear on an ongoing basis. How has that helped? I mean, I'm sure it's helped retention, but what kind of environment does that create in your office?
Yeah, I'd imagine this is common, but we have a group chat with everybody in the company. So it's just a public forum there, a group chat. Everybody can kind of comment in there throughout the holidays. Of course, all the happy holiday things come through there and all that. But also, whenever an individual gets a message from the office, whether it's through an email or a Google review or a phone call in, you better bet it gets blasted in there, and that person's walking around with their chin up for the day. They're pretty excited. Monthly, I mean, this isn't nothing groundbreaking, but monthly we'll have rewards for whoever gets the most Google reviews with their name mentioned in there for the month, and there'll be a large gift card waited for them, that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff, it makes somebody feel good. When you do your job every day and you get that pat on the back from a customer, whether tips are nice, but just a pat on the back from customers throughout the office, around your peers, that's very powerful. That really goes a long way. That kind of stuff. Their spouses see it. You go home for the day. You just feel like it was a little bit better day than the day before.
Yeah, and celebrating the wins.
Yeah.
Right? Celebrating those wins. I know a lot of contractors struggle with getting reviews. And a lot of times I'll tell them, man, you got to, maybe reward your people. There's ways that you can reward them if they get their name mentioned in the review, and celebrate them and do those types of things. All of those little things. You're saying, it's just normal stuff. This is uncommon.
Oh, really?
This stuff is uncommon. It's uncommon with the majority of contractors, but it is common with the contractors that have found success, right? That are doing and running good businesses. So what would you what could you share with our audience that maybe the greatest insight that you could share with our audience that has helped you find success with your roofing business?
I'd say overall, I don't want to take too much credit for myself, but just on my team, I really appreciate the relationships that we've been able to build, not just people that are under our roof here at Kirkin Exteriors, just a relationship of contractors that we've been able to hook up with in the area, different tradesmen, whether it's property managers, whether it's, people related to our industry, but not directly. Those referrals have been awesome, and just really represent good representations of our company throughout our referrals. I think our growth is just really credited to just our real honesty as a company, and are just very clear for us to be able to be seen through. And it has been a real team effort. Our office is a very good representation from the second you call all the way down to, throughout the final inspection, through the warranty, that kind of stuff. Those good experiences just organically have really led to the growth of our company. And I think that just from the time our first interview, we really try to make sure that they understand that, we invite the spouses. We get together with our spouses and our employees, frequently. I'd say probably once a quarter, just everybody get together just to keep the spirits high, the appreciation factor of things. And I just think that flows to when people go back to the job sites and talking to customers and speaking of our company. I think it just portrays a very high image, and people want to be part of that.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for your time today, Dan. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. If you would like to generate more revenue through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com to get a copy of the book, The Best Known Roofer. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. Thanks for listening.